preview it now by bringing in the play-by-play man, the voice of the Knights, Marc Daniels, host of The Beat of Sports on 96.9 The Game in Orlando. And Marc, you already had Jason on your show, and now you're on essentially Jason's show. So nice swap this morning.
It was. I appreciate it and happy to return the favor.
Well, and look, we started the conversation talking about the difference in temperature. Marc had mentioned that there was a cold front coming in. He had to put on a sweater because it was reaching 65. So, yeah.
It's still not. It's not getting above 63 today. In fact, I just checked. It's 59 right now, so it's freezing here.
You'll get no sympathy from us. 36 degrees in Provo here. And it was actually 16 degrees when the game ended Saturday against San Diego State. So that's good news. This bowl game about 3 hours away from Orlando and Boca Raton. Tell us a little bit about what UCF kind of expected. I think maybe it was Pitt, right, or a Power 5 team, and BYU's hoping to get something good at 10-1. I personally love this game. I think it's a great spot. I think playing UCF is incredible. I love everything about this.
Oh, I love the matchup. You know, UCF, the way the season had gone, you know, you set goals to try to get to the New Year's Six, and it didn't happen for us. And obviously in a COVID world, I think our feeling was we really didn't want to leave the state. You know, UCF, once we had a revised schedule, we ended up only 9 games this year. We were one of the few teams in the country that didn't have to have a game changed, canceled, postponed, whatever. We played the 9 on the schedule that we had. So we were done that Black Friday of Thanksgiving. And as you guys know, it's hard to keep your team engaged. All of us brought players back on June 1 in some sort of a bubble. And to tell those guys, hey, hang in here for 4 weeks, stay through Christmas. So UCF was really looking for a game in the state. There are 2 bowl games that were options post-Christmas, but the Boca Bowl being pre-Christmas was really appealing to UCF. And then as ESPN came in and said, look, we think we'll be able to match up with a ACC team. And it looked like it was going to be Pitt. And then Pitt beat Georgia Tech, and then they said they didn't want to play in the game. Virginia got blown out by Virginia Tech. They were out. Boston College was already out. Virginia Tech at 5-6 wasn't very appealing to UCF. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, who? BYU, like, yeah, let's do this. Fantastic. So I'm excited. I know UCF is excited because no disrespect to those ACC teams, I think we've got a much better opponent and one that has some national appeal because of the brands involved and the quarterback. So I'm excited.
Yeah, the 2 offenses is just amazing when you think about the prolific offenses that will be on display. My question for you is, what is it about this Knights offensive system that continues to churn out these types of numbers year in and year out?
It's our speed and our tempo forcing a defense to try to match. What Josh Heupel took from Scott Frost, then put his own fingerprints on it, is tempo, tempo, tempo. Can I get the playoff as fast as possible? So 1, you're not able to sub if I'm not subbing. And 2, you're not able to keep up. And suddenly I find a mismatch of either a linebacker on speedy receiver or just you guys make a mistake defensively and somebody's open. So we'll take some shots deep. UCF will do that every football game. But that's the design of tempo. Now, we don't do that every single play, but that's the thing that UCF has had success in catching people off balance. And then from a speed standpoint, most of the teams we play, I'm not saying it's in this game, but most of the teams we play, we're faster when it comes to our skill guys matching up with somebody else. That our wide receivers, our running backs, and in some cases our quarterback, they'll be faster than who's trying to tackle them, and that becomes a big advantage. So with that, plus some talented skilled people from a fertile recruiting ground in Florida or quarterbacks from Hawaii, you can put together an offense that's going to put up some yards and points.
Let's talk about some of the individual matchups in this one, which I think are really fun. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel is a baller. Dylan Gabriel and Zach Wilson's dad, they actually played against each other in Hawaii in high school, which is pretty gnarly. And Dylan Gabriel's dad, Garrett, beat BYU in 1990, the day that Ty Detmer won the Heisman. So there's a little history there. That quarterback matchup is going to be a fun one.
It is. Dylan, it's a 30 for 30 story, guys, where, it starts, what if I told you not 1, but 2 quarterbacks would spend time in high school breaking all of Tua's records and then choose to come to Orlando, Florida, and have the success that they have had. And Dylan's been fantastic. The unique situation of obviously after Mackenzie Milton went down, but then Dylan had to earn the job last year, and Josh Heupel made the decision to go with him. Believe it or not, his first start was against FAU in the stadium we're going to play at. And he played okay, but then after that really took off. And now here he is 2 years as a starter, 59 touchdowns, just 11 interceptions, is on pace to shatter every UCF passing record. It's a great story. But he's a really good student of the game, understands defenses really well, just like McKenzie, who I think is one of the best at it, being able to read that pre-snap coverage and have an idea. And at the same time, have some talented players around him that allow him to, have that success. But Dylan's just a great young man, has an incredible future. Obviously, it led to the unique situation with McKenzie Milton about to stay or to leave. And I think one of the things McKenzie really understood was, look, Dylan's entrenched himself as a quarterback here. This is his team now. He's earned the right to have that. And part of why McKenzie, I think, chose to leave. As far as Zach Wilson goes, obviously, look, the numbers are fantastic. I love the story, too. Not somebody that was highly recruited that just got better and better, and to have the numbers, the completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, to roll out and run and throw. Some similarities a lot in the personality and style of play for these two quarterbacks.
Then I look at the 2,000-yard receivers in the game, and there's almost a third one there with Jalen Robinson. But it's Marlon Williams who's putting up 130 yards a game and 10 touchdowns overall. That's incredible. And then Dax Milne, who's really come on the scene for BYU. That wide receiver matchup, I think, is going to be a fun one, too.
Well, you have to focus on a different one. Marlon's out. Marlon hurt his foot in the Cincinnati football game, and Marlon's got an opportunity to have a success at the next level. He's going to try to get himself ready, for the Senior Bowl, which I don't know if that's possible, but he'll focus on that. But Jalen Robinson, who's a transfer Oklahoma, Jalen's, a few catches this football game. He'll become a second 1,000-yard receiver for UCF. Jacob Harris is a 6'5" kid that's our big, deep threat downfield. Ryan O'Keefe, a speedster from Texas. There's a bunch of weapons. Marlon put up incredible numbers doing it in just 8 games. Wish him well, because he had a phenomenal second half of the season last year. A great season this year, becoming first-team All-Conference. And the other first-team All-Conference wide receiver was Jalen Robinson, who you'll see in the game on Tuesday.
Well, and if you want to add even more to it, we know how good the Knights can run the football, and that's something I think BYU's defense is paying very close attention to. I mean, Marc, is there any reason to believe this game is going to be anything other than a shootout?
Well, except when we think that, we end up with defensive games. But the indication, I think, is a lot of points are going to be scored. I think I looked at it, but I don't know how many 4-hour games you guys have played this year. We've played 4. So we've been at the stadium for quite a long time for some of these games, partly because of points and possessions. We don't mind scoring in a minute, or 90 seconds. That leads to longer games sometimes. But I would think this is a game that has a lot of points. Look, our defense at times has struggled. We're playing some young corners, which is a concern, obviously, against this BYU offense. We've got 2 talented freshman corners that are going to be really good. They've gotten better as the year's gone along, but they're freshmen. A third corner is a true freshman. So we're going to be challenged in that secondary. So that's going to be tough for us, I think, to think that you're going to hold BYU under a certain number. And you would think that UCF's going to have some success, although great respect for what BYU's done, in particular in shutting down the run this year. But you would think this is a game that may take a while to get through because of the offenses on the field.
No 4-hour games for BYU. The longest one would be 3:43 at Houston. So
3:43. We'd kill for a 3:43 game.
So at Navy, BYU's played the AAC a couple times at Navy, at Houston this year. So a third look there. BYU's never won in Florida, so there are certainly a few opportunities there. I know the USF last year, BYU went there and lost. It wasn't with Zach Wilson. So this is going to be a fun one, and it's a couple days away. Tuesday is certainly a unique opportunity. So how do you expect this game to play out next Tuesday in the Boca Raton Bowl?
Well, you talked about the game on Tuesday. I think for BYU, even though I think every school loves the chance to be able to kind of shut it down for a couple of weeks, then start bowl practice and get healthy, there may be an advantage for BYU, the fact that you guys played last week. It really is staying in your normal routine. Instead of playing Saturday, you play on Tuesday. I know it's a long trip here, but you don't have that shut it down, start it back up. I think UCF handled that well, though. They gave the team a little bit over a week off, then got back into, the football schedule here. Look, I think for UCF, first defensively, as I said, I expect BYU to challenge the young corners for UCF. UCF's got to get some pressure up front, but pressure also means not losing sight of Zach Wilson, pressure on linebackers. And UCF's got a couple of speedy sophomore linebackers, as well as a junior linebacker, Eric Gilliard, somebody you want to keep an eye on. It's important that those guys know all the time where Zach Wilson is. So UCF can't give up the big play. Defensively, get some pressure and not give up the big play. Offensively, it is establishing the run. I mean, people look at us and think about offense and throwing the football all over the place. UCF still runs 52% of the time. When the running game is on, it obviously sets up that passing game. And UCF needs to take its shots and have some success throwing the ball down the field. Turnover is always a factor in games. UCF is plus 12 this year. Over the course of this 4-year run for UCF, we've been about plus 40. And that's a big reason for 41-7 the last 4 years. So protect that football. And look, I think both teams, you always want to play from the lead and not take yourself out of what you want to do. But turnovers in this game, not giving up the big play, important. I do think for UCF, it's the tempo on offense. Can they just keep it going when they have the opportunity to do it, to try to catch BYU to make a mistake defensively? When that happens, that's when UCF wins. When they turn the ball over, when they commit too many penalties, and when they have quarterbacks that can run and throw, they've struggled at times. Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati did that to UCF. Talented player, and clearly I think Zach Wilson every bit as good, if not better, in some areas as well.
Well, it should be a fun game next Tuesday on ESPN. And, Mark, we appreciate the details on UCF. Should be a fun game.
Thank you, guys. Have safe travels. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate it.